Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending January's SB 1383 chat with CalRecycle. We are recording, and we will begin shortly. Alrighty. Welcome and thank you, everyone, for attending. We've received a great amount of success and positive feedback on these webinars. So we appreciate all of your participation, bringing the challenges and successes, solutions to our peer share and these chats. Before handing off to our branch chief, Ashley Yee, I'd like to go over a few reminders. For our Q&A process, we'll be using the chat feature. Please go ahead and insert any questions there or to our SLCP inbox. 1 second. We are aware that there is another CalRecycle webinar going on the statewide education campaign. That begins at 3. So there is some overlap, but both webinars are being recorded and will be available for viewing on the CalRecycle YouTube channel. I have a number of Q&A sessions. So if we don't get to your question right away, you will have another opportunity. Let me go ahead and sorry, 1 second. Okay. So again, this is the SB 1383 chat with CalRecycle. The focus of January is multifamily dwellings. Thank you all again. So as I mentioned before, the chat feature will be the best and quickest way to get your questions to our panelists. Please limit the scope of your questions to the section in which that Q&A is for. We'll aim to get as many different people and parties questions answered as possible. Once CalRecycle staff reads your question, we'll go ahead and unmute you on our end. Please go ahead and unmute yourself, state your name and affiliation, restate your question, and any clarifying points you'd like to make. If we do not get to your question or you are unable to unmute yourself, please submit your questions to slcp.organics@calrecycle.ca.gov. One of our staff members will follow up with you after and make sure that you get all of the assistance and information that we can get to you in a timely manner. So with that, I will pass it to our JACE branch chief Ashley Yee for an update from them. Ashley.
Perfect. Thanks, Ray. Again, welcome to the 13-3 chat with CalRecycle. And then for those who just joined us, I know we're still had folks coming in from the waiting room. We are recording the session and it will get posted as soon as we ensure ADA compliance. And again, as Ray just stated, we also may not be able to answer all of your questions today, but we will document them and someone will get back to you. We really appreciate your time and we really do enjoy these chats to hear from all of our speakers and even the peer share function. This is something new that we're trying out and we think it's going well, but we're always welcome for feedback. So please email the SLCP inbox if you guys do have any feedback on topics you want to see for another chat, if you want to continue this topic, or if you want to have anything else talked about in these. These are monthly. As Ray mentioned, I am the branch chief of the newly established, and I'm going to keep saying newly established until we're established for about a year. So get used to it. But I am the branch chief of the newly established Jurisdiction Agency Compliance and Enforcement Branch, also known as JACE, because we know that's a gigantic mouthful. I'm going to give a brief update on the SB 619 corrective action plans, also referred to as CAPS or action plans. Also the evaluations or the compliance evaluations that you read in the 13-3 regs. And I'm getting feedback. I don't know if you guys are too. Can we make sure everyone's muted, or Ray, Esmeralda, can you mute everyone else besides me, please? Perfect. Okay, So the update on the action plans. So we've worked with jurisdictions to develop and finalize action plans based on what they reported through the process outlined in the SB 619 process. So far, 23 plans have been finalized and sent out to these jurisdictions, and we're in the process of finalizing the remainder 104 jurisdictions, and we continue to finalize plans each week. Once you have a finalized plan, you'll get a PDF from the staff person that worked on the plan with you. Once all of the 619 plans have been sent to the jurisdictions, we will be posting all of them online. So all the jurisdictions will be able to see them. Any other stakeholders will be able to see these plans. But again, they will be posted after we finalize them all. If you've not received your action plan and you want to know the status, please reach out to your JACE contact. If you do not know the JACE contact, please feel free to email me directly and I'll connect you with them. My team and I greatly appreciate you and or your teams for working with us. We required quite a bit of cooperation in ensuring that these plans included all the correct tasks and workable deadlines in order for your jurisdiction to become compliant. So now on to the compliance evaluations. As you know, statute and regulations continue to require CalRecycle to complete evaluations at least once every 4 years. These evaluations will be looking at steps the jurisdictions are taking to fully implement all of the recycling and diversion requirements, including organic diversion. To ensure that we reach all of our entities, which is over 600 at this point in time in a 4-year cycle, we're going to start to work on those who would benefit the most from an evaluation. So we've developed a plan for how to move forward, and that's what I want to share with you guys all now. So our plan uses the information that we have at hand regarding steps or lack thereof, steps taken by the jurisdiction to comply with all of our requirements. We'll be looking at the level of reporting. So for example, there was 2 reports due this year. The April 1st initial report and the October 3rd report for all jurisdictions, and then capacity planning reports for the counties. We'll also look at the level of compliance with the required AB 1826 or more and AB 341 or MCR. We'll also look at status of implementing existing plans that you may or may not have with the local assistance and market development branch. But we'll also look at implementing existing plans, including those action plans I just talked about, the corrective action plans. The last thing that we're also looking at right now is the level of response to offers that the local assistance team provides to these jurisdictions or to your jurisdictions. We plan to provide jurisdictions adequate notice prior to beginning an evaluation so that they could all compile their implementation record in a timely manner. And we know that the 10 days that were written in the regs may not be feasible for some. So we do want to try to provide some adequate notice to these jurisdictions to give them maybe even longer than those 10 days. We're building into our process adequate time to ensure jurisdictions have a complete understanding of the requirements and expectations for meeting these requirements. The focus of our evaluations will continue to be to identify gaps in compliance, and when available as a tool, work with the jurisdiction to develop and implement an action plan designed to bring them into full and continuing compliance. We are trying to be as transparent as possible. We may not have all the answers today, but please let us know if you have any questions, concerns, comments, and if we can't answer it today, we'll for sure get back to you as soon as possible. With that, Ray, that is my quick update, so I'll turn it back to you for a quick Q&A.
Thank you, Ashley. So just to clarify, there weren't any slides that were missing. That we had it intentionally on the Q&A slide for anybody who messaged in the chat regarding that. Yeah, so that was a verbal update. We don't have any questions on the JACE update so far. So we'll go ahead and give everybody another couple of seconds to add any of those questions to the chat or the SLCP inbox that is shown on your screen. If our SLCP inbox team has anything, please let me know. We do have one request for bullet points summarizing your update, Ashley. That's possible. We'll go ahead and take that into consideration. A request for your email address, Ashley. We'll go ahead and put that in the chat. Thank you. So that's Ashley, ashlee.yee@calrecycle.ca.gov. And we have our first question comes from Sarah Ahern. Esmeralda or Kathy, can you go ahead and unmute Sarah?
Hi, Ashley. I'm sorry, I didn't catch, you said there was 104 in progress, and how many jurisdictions have already received them?
23. 23.
So 23 already have them and 104 being processed right now?
Correct. And we keep processing and improving them every week.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. Ray, you're on mute, but I'm guessing you're going to the next question.
Yes, thank you. The next question is from Vigan Abramayan. Sorry if I mispronounced that. They ask, how do you determine which jurisdictions will benefit most from compliance evaluation? And if we could go ahead and unmute them in case there's any other clarifying points.
So I could start, Ray, to help. So as one of the, I kind of rambled a lot, but we are looking at the level of reporting. So again, those reports that were turned in this year, level of compliance with previous laws like MCR and more, the status of implementing existing plans, whether those are plans that these jurisdictions have with LAMD and or those corrective action plans that I've talked about. Also, the response of when LAMD is asking for assistance or to see if jurisdictions are taking LAMD up on any of their offers for assistance. So that is the information that we have at hand right now. As we gain more information, our list of who will benefit from an evaluation may change. But again, these evaluations happen at least once every 4 years for all 600 plus jurisdictions that we have. So hopefully that helps, Ray. I don't know if that person is unmuted or not.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Perfect. Next question we have is from Ashley Brunier. Ashley, you are unmuted on our end. Please state your name and affiliation.
Thanks, Ray. This is Ashley Brunier with Economics in Consulting. I just have a few random questions, like kind of all over the place for SB 1383. So hopefully that's okay. If not, I can definitely wait till the end of the meeting or email someone. But one of them was just we were going through edible food requirements and just going through those inspections this year. And we just had a question regarding single event caterers. I believe I read somewhere and that Tier 1 definition does not include single event catering companies. I just wanted to confirm if that was true.
Hey, Ashley, why don't you go ahead? Because these do seem like questions not related to what Ashley's presenting on. So if you have a question related to that, otherwise, go ahead. If you want to put in the chat all your questions and we'll be happy to get back to you. Or if we have time at the end, we can hit them as well.
Thanks, Kara. That's why I mentioned that in the comments. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Ashley.
Ray, do you want me to go to Dave's question?
Sounds good. We'll go ahead and unmute Dave.
Hi, all. Dave Briggs from Napa County. I hope it's the right Dave.
Yep, Dave Briggs, you're good.
Okay, yeah. So my question had to do with the organic product procurement requirement. And I was just wondering, I know for 2022, that requirement wasn't really looked at very closely by CalRecycle enforcement or evaluation even. But there's a 30% target now, 30% of the target that's required for 2023. I'm wondering how much of an enforcement issue that might become for any jurisdiction that doesn't meet it. Is it growing in priority for Jace? Will it just be not really reviewed for 2023, or what's the current perspective there?
That's a great question, Dave. So it will be built into part of the evaluation, is we will look at the procurement. And so it'll be an all-encompassing review of all the SB 1383 requirements, so edible food, procurement, collections, along with any programs that are not superseded by 1383. For example, your HHW program, or some aspects of MCR and more. Maybe some folks have a waiver in 1383, but still have to implement MCR. So we'll be looking at all of the jurisdiction requirements as a whole, if that helps.
That helps, thanks.
Perfect.
Okay, our next question comes from Rachel Balsley. Rachel, you are unmuted on our end. If you'd like to ask your question on those particular data points.
Sure. Yeah, I was just wondering if there are particular like sections of maybe the last EAR that you're seeing as more important and that would cause a jurisdiction to be prioritized sooner than later.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rachel. Right now, the biggest data point is, did a jurisdiction turn in these reports? My team is currently reviewing the EAR, so we may change our prioritization list depending on what we see in there, if that makes sense. So again, this is a fluid process that we're using, and we want to be as transparent as possible. So when we do create a prioritization list, there will be specific data points that we are using, like the ones I just listed of, did you turn in your report? How are you doing with MCR and more? That may change, right? Do you have the ordinance in place, right? Do you have XYZ in place? So right now it is just, was a report turned in? And then right now my team is evaluating the EAR. So we may have some other questions. We may see some things that stick out where, hey, we may want to use this as a data point for the future. I hope that helps, Rachel.
Hey, Ashley, I'll just add on also, one of the things that Ashley and I are looking at with the electronic annual reports is, not just if something seems like, oh, they're below or whatnot, but we're also going to be looking for technical assistance needs. We know that this first report was very complex and it was a big change for our stakeholders. So just because something may seem out of sorts in the annual report, it may be that we're going to be following up with the jurisdiction to get clarity. Ashley, do you want to add any more to that? Because I think this first report, we really recognize some of the challenges and understanding what should have gone where, et cetera.
Yeah, I think that really ties into Andrew's part later this afternoon, is we're looking for feedback on the EAR also. To Kara's point, even if we did some helpful hints, it still may have been confusing. So there, it's not really a question for this, but kind of a question for this. There's an edible food thing about inspections. We understand this report was the first 6 months. So trying to tie it into that question, but not really. If the answer is 0 for inspections for the first 6 months, we completely understand because you had all of 2022 to do it. But there could be some confusion, right? On, well, what does that inspection mean versus a desk audit versus what does MCR more numbers mean versus SLCP. So that session that you're going to have with Andrew in, I don't know how long, an hour maybe, that's where he'll want that feedback. So we didn't want to hold the jurisdictions not so much accountable, but use it against them if there was some confusion on how to report. So it really was it turned in? Was it not? And then we'll really evaluate maybe the next time, like, oh yeah, like that should be solidified right now. And so maybe that will be a data point later on. I hope that helps. And thanks, Kara, for bringing that up.
So the next question I'm seeing is from Sierra Lowe. You're unmuted on our end. If you can unmute yourself and then go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hi. This is a specific question regarding compliance. Just wanted to get some clarity, and I've been wondering who is the best contact to ask compliance specific questions to. So I guess that's part one. And then part two is just trying to figure out with food recovery organizations, if they're in full compliance with reporting requirements, what the expectations are regarding inspections of food recovery organizations, and how CalRecycle might view sort of a 0 for food recovery organization inspections if all of those pros had submitted their reports, what the expectation is there and how that'll be reviewed in terms of compliance.
So Kara, correct me if I'm wrong, but we will have edible food session next month, right? Also?
We will, yeah, but we can certainly tackle some of that now, Ashley. Let's go off on together on this one. I think, if we were doing a compliance evaluation on a jurisdiction, one of the first things that we're going to be looking at, as Ashley mentions, their implementation record. In the implementation record is supposed to be a description of the jurisdiction's inspection and enforcement program, right? And so in that, we might see that because also Article 14 allows you to prioritize your inspections, you may have prioritized an inspection on a food recovery organization, say for next year. And so what we would be looking for, and if it's not in there, we would be following up with you to ask, hey, what's going on? And that's exactly what you might be telling us is, oh, our inspection on that food recovery organization is next year because they've been doing a great job giving us their reports. So just because it's a 0, as Ashley noted earlier, it doesn't mean that you're automatically prioritized. It means we're going to do some follow-up to understand why it's a 0. It likely, you'll be able to explain like that kind of a scenario and it'll make sense to us. So if we don't see it in the implementation record, that certainly would be a question that we would ask when we're conducting that evaluation. Ashley, is there something else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would even say put it in your electronic annual report. So
Yeah.
you put a 0 in that inspection piece.
It's good.
I believe you can, and it'll let you go by. I can't remember what you can and can't do. But if you put a 0 there, there should be for every single part of the electronic annual report, a section where you could put other information, not just a number. That is something my team will be going over before they do their compliance evaluations actually out in the field. So we're going to read all of that background information before we even get out into the field. So put as much as you want in the electronic annual report, and or like Kara said, implementation record. Sometimes it's hard, I know, to update your implementation record, but while you're doing your EAR and you want that 0, you could have that 0 connect with a reasoning right then and there in the EAR.
Yeah, I think that's really great. And also we have a Q&A when it comes to food recovery organization and inspections. And in that Q&A, it talks about the focus of the inspection is really focused on their documentation. And so again, you may do an inspection of a food recovery organization. They've got great documentation. They've been reporting regularly. And so you might have prioritized them to have less than frequent annual inspections. And that would be okay. Let us know if that answered your question. I know there was a lot there. There, did that get it? You could unmute and let us know.
Hi, sorry, I wasn't able to unmute there for a second. Yes, that's really helpful. Thank you. And I think I can follow up with anything else in the February webinar. I guess the only additional question would be if there's any specific contact at CalRecycle for compliance sort of specific questions.
Sure. The first place to start is with your local assistance liaison. They will make sure that it gets to the right folks. You can also send it to the SLCP inbox and they will get it to the right folks, but it's always great to start with your local assistance liaison. And the reason for that is it may be a question that's already been addressed. And so they can easily get a response to you, or if it's something that hasn't been addressed, they can get the right subject matter experts to help come together to get your question addressed. So that would be your first place to go.
Thanks so much, Kara and Ashley. Some of our questions that are coming in are topic specific. So we'll go ahead and ask you to submit them to the slcp.organics inbox for follow-up at a later time. We're going to go ahead and give the floor to Carrie Baxter for the final question for the JACE update segment of this webinar. Carrie, you're unmuted on our end.
Hi, I was just wanting to get clarification on whether or not jurisdictions need to continue tracking MCR and more compliance numbers along with SLP or SLCP's reporting numbers, or if SLCP will replace those reporting numbers.
Yeah. Hey, Carrie, thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and have Andrew provide a response to everyone in the chat for that one. And the answer is sort of. So he'll give you a response. But if you're reporting on all of 1383, you don't necessarily have to break out the data. So it just depends on your scenario. But Andrew will put a response in the chat. Thanks so much, Carrie.
And then Kara, can we also have Andrew, maybe you want to address if LAMD is still monitoring any plans? I couldn't tell if Carrie's question was more to the EAR reporting and or to if there's a request for information from any of our staff.
Oh, that's good, Carrie. And I don't know if that was part of your question or not, but both the local assistance staff and the J staff are continuing to monitor implementation of MCR and more formal plans if they have not concluded. So it could be our staff is contacting you every other month, asking for an update, a status check-in, because we do want to ensure that those plans are being fully implemented. So you could be getting a separate ask with respect to that. So I'm not sure if that was part of your question as well.
And then to really quickly add on to Kara's, for the action plans or the corrective action plans, if commercial collection was in those corrective action plans, we are trying to roll in that monitoring piece into those corrective action plans. So you don't have to report to CalRecycle 2 different times, one for the corrective action plan and one for that MCR more check-in. So just wanted to clarify that. I wasn't sure where the question was going, but for all encompassing purposes.
Thank you. Carrie, did you have anything you wanted to add or?
Nope, that was all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, I will go ahead and thank both Karen and Ashley and pass it to Marissa Cota for a funding update.
Great, good afternoon. All right, so before I begin, I just want to mention that we will most likely not be able to answer specific eligibility questions live, but can follow up and answer your questions after the meeting. But we'll try to answer some general questions at the end of the presentation. So next slide, please. The Organics Grant Program provides funds to support expansion of waste management infrastructure, particularly for composting and digestion facilities to achieve greenhouse gas emission reductions, or GHG emission reductions. These investments will result in reduced methane emissions from landfills, air and water quality benefits, in addition to GHG emission reductions, benefits to priority populations, and create jobs. Projects must be located in California and facilitate or result in reductions in GHG emissions compared to existing practices of landfilling green or food materials within California, and increase quantity in tons of green materials or food materials that are newly diverted from landfill disposal or alternative daily cover use and composted or digested in California. For purposes of this grant program, newly diverted means tons of material that are currently being landfilled or used as alternative daily cover that will instead be diverted as a result of the project. Next slide. In addition to the project requirements previously outlined, there are a few requirements that are specific to anaerobic digestion and co-digestion projects. For both anaerobic digestion projects and co-digestion projects, the project must utilize the biogas that is generated to produce transportation fuel, renewable electricity, heat, or biomethane for pipeline injection. Utilizing the biogas beneficially is important to maximize the GHG benefits of this project, which aligns with the funding goals of the program. For co-digestion projects, the project must also have a food waste receiving station that allows for direct receipt of food waste into the anaerobic digesters. A project that proposes to receive food waste at the headworks or through the sewage system for co-digestion is ineligible. The purpose of this requirement is to maximize the GHG benefits of the project and to avoid strain on the sewage conveyance systems. Next slide. So this is a list of the eligible applicants for this program. Local governments include cities and counties, regional or local sanitation agencies, waste agencies, or joint power authorities. Next slide. The amount available for this new solicitation is just under $155 million. This includes a combination of funding provided by fiscal years 21-22 and 22-23 state budgets, of which this includes $81 million of the $180 million 22-23 grant allocation that was provided to help local jurisdictions implement SB 1383. So while this solicitation is open to several eligible applicants, that $81 million is designated to go specifically to local jurisdiction applicants. Additionally, the total amount available is broken out into 4 project types shown in the table so that we ensure that funding goes to a variety of project types. Next slide, please. So the grant awards per project type are anaerobic digestion, co-digestion, and composting projects can receive up to 10 million. There's 13 million available for projects that include new or upgrades to the AD co-digestion or compost facility, along with pre-processing in a collaborative application. So cooperative application. A cooperative application is one in which 2 or more eligible entities join together for the purpose of grant implementation. Then the standalone pre-processing projects have $500,000 to $3 million award available. That's for sites not co-located at a composting or anaerobic digestion facility. So this could be at a MRF or a transfer station, for example. This applicant type will be required to provide a letter of intent from an AD or compost facility that will receive the material. And then the last group, which is the in-vessel composting projects, is eligible for up to $250,000 to $500,000. Next slide. Only complete and eligible applications will be scored by a panel of CalRecycle staff. Staff will be scoring application in the 4 categories shown in bold. There are 105 points possible, which includes 5 bonus points for assigned community benefits agreement with a priority population. 60 points is a minimum passing score to be eligible for funding. Applications will be sorted by project type and then placed in rank order. We're also taking into account the rural funding priority, which guarantees that the highest ranking passing rural project will be funded. CalRecycle will fund projects in rank order until funds are exhausted, ensuring appropriate funding is going to the appropriate project type and applicant type. Next slide, please. So this is our tentative timeline for the cycle. So we anticipate opening the cycle probably at this point. It'll be early February. We were hoping to make end of January, but thinking it would probably be early February. We're still working really hard on it, getting that package together for you. And then we'll anticipate awards in September or October. The actual grant term will end April 1st, 2026. So this is the longest amount of time CalRecycle currently has authority to expend the funds. So we're giving you as much time as we're allowed to at this point, based on the way the budget was written. So that's the end of my portion. Up next is Michelle Dewey, who will provide more information about the project types that are eligible for funding.
Great. Thank you so much, Marissa, and good afternoon, everyone. Great to see so many participants joining today. As Marissa mentioned, in the next few slides, I'll be providing a bit of a high-level overview of some of those project types that Marissa was discussing that can be funded under this grant program. So those 4 project types are anaerobic digestion and co-digestion, composting, standalone pre-processing, and in-vessel composting projects. Next slide, please. So the first group of projects targeted under this program are anaerobic digestion, or AD, and co-digestion projects. These are projects that digest organic waste, such as food and green waste, to create renewable energy. The difference between AD and co-digestion is where the digestion is taking place. An AD project happens at a solid waste facility that is purpose-built for the digestion of municipal organic waste, whereas a co-digestion project happens at a wastewater treatment plant whose primary purpose is the treatment of municipal wastewater, but these projects have also typically added additional infrastructure on site to enable the plant to receive food waste and co-digest it with wastewater solids. And both AD and co-digestion provide a variety of benefits. They produce biogas, which can create renewable energy products such as electricity and transportation fuel. These are products also that could be procured to meet a jurisdiction's SB 1383 procurement target. So they do create some valuable end products. And they also produce a nutrient-rich material, digestate, that can be composted or used as a soil amendment. Types of projects that could be funded under this grant program include co-digestion projects, which may involve installation of equipment at a wastewater treatment plant to receive and clean food waste feedstock prior to digestion, or funding could support an AD project, which may involve things such as the construction of infrastructure for brand new digesters or biogas systems, things of that sort to support the digestion. Next slide, please. The next group of projects targeted under this program are composting projects, which may include the construction of new or expanded composting infrastructure to process green and food waste. And there are a lot of great benefits to composting organic waste, including the production of nutrient-rich soil products that improve soil's physical, biological, and chemical properties. The use of compost can also help to sequester carbon in soil, reduce soil erosion, and improve water quality. Compost also is a product that may be procured by jurisdictions to help meet their SB 1383 procurement targets. And some examples of equipment and costs that could be funded under this program include installation and construction of covered aerated static pile systems, pads, screens, turners, separators, etc. Next slide. The next group of projects targeted under this program are standalone pre-processing projects. These are projects that will process food and green waste to remove contaminants before the material is then digested or composted. This project type is targeting funding for pre-processing equipment that will not be co-located at a composting or AD facility, as Marissa mentioned. So this provides a funding opportunity for facilities such as MRFs or transfer stations to install this pre-processing equipment. Please note, however, that while this type of project is only funding pre-processing equipment, the pre-processed material from these projects still must be directed to digestion or composting and have that tie to complete the recycling process. Pre-processing is an important step for a variety of reasons. It can help reduce impacts on equipment such as digesters. Contaminants in organic feedstock fed into a digester, for example, could become clogged or entangled in equipment, leading to downtime and costly repairs. So cleaning up that material upstream is really an important step. Pre-processing can also help to reduce contamination in end products like compost. Fewer contaminants going into the compost pile means fewer contaminants remaining in the compost product. So we're really excited to have this piece as part of our grant program this year. And funding could support the purchase of equipment such as depackagers, hammer mills, presses, screens, polishing equipment, things like that. Next slide. And the final group of projects targeted under this program are in-vessel composting projects. This form of composting still uses the same biological process as other composting projects, but it is happening within an enclosed system. So this allows for the control of conditions such as aeration, moisture, odors, and temperature. In-vessel composting may be an opportunity for small to medium organic waste generators to manage materials on site while also producing compost. So it could be an option in a variety of settings, such as universities, zoos, prisons, restaurants, or food banks, to name a few. So some of the benefits of these systems includes that on-site waste management solution for those generators, and could help to significantly reduce their hauling costs by using this on-site waste management option. And the compost produced could also be given away to the community or used for landscaping purposes. So there is that value-added product in the end as well. And funding of these project types could support the installation and purchase of in-vessel composting technologies, screens, pads, and other tools for processing materials. Next slide. And that concludes my overview of the different project types that will be targeted under this grant cycle. We also wanted to provide this slide with some resources, including our grant program email, where you may reach out with any questions that may come up if we don't get to your question today. We also have our webpage on the greenhouse gas reduction grant and loan programs, where you can find more information pertaining to this grant cycle and our other grant programs. And finally, we have listed here the link where you can sign up for listserv messages. We'll be sending out all announcements through the listserv, including application release. So please be sure to sign up if you haven't already to stay up to date. And with that, I'll pass it back to Ray. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Esmeralda, do you want to go ahead and get this session started?
Yes, so the first question is from Emma Apple about contact information. Emma, you're unmuted. So their question is if you could share the contact for guidance with getting capital equipment to food recovery organizations.
Could you repeat that question? Sorry.
No, it's fine. If you could share the contact information for guidance with getting capital equipment to food recovery organizations.
I think it may be a question pertaining to content outside of Marissa and my slides. So I'm not sure if there's someone else online who could chime in for that one.
Yeah, I would say, this is Scott Beckner. I'd say that go ahead and send your question. It sounds like it's related to the food rescue grant program, and send any questions related to that to the grants inbox. And I think we can provide that in the chat if there's nobody online that can answer that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. It might be the edible food recovery grant program that they're inquiring about. I'm not totally sure if that's what the question's referring to. But yeah, you can email our general inbox that we shared at the end, which was the GHG reductions at calrecycle.ca.gov.
I'll go ahead and move it back to that slide so that everyone can see that again, or if you want to put that in the chat, Marissa. Our next question comes from Jenny Weiss. Jenny Weiss, you're unmuted on our end. If you'd like to ask your question, please state your name and affiliation.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Weiss from Humboldt County, California. And yeah, I was just curious if I know, the focus is food waste, but we're also having kind of some issues with dealing with our green waste locally. And so I was just wondering if a chipper would be an eligible purchase for under the composting. Does it have to be for pre-processing? Could it be for processing?
Yeah, so you'll, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask a question. So if you have an answer, go for it.
Oh, sure. No, and eligible equipment includes things like pre-processing and post-processing and intermediate processing as part of that. And so if the chipper is being used to create an eligible, the compost end product, then it would be an eligible expense. But you'll see a lot more detail in the solicitation in terms of eligible costs, and definitely refer to that. But my off-the-cuff answer is yes, so long as it's actually used in the compost process.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, the next question is coming from Ruben Hernandez. You're unmuted on our end. If you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you for the very informative presentation, Michelle. And I just wanted to know if the grants for pre-processing equipment, such as the packager, be retroactive. We installed the packager late last year, and I was wondering if we could take this opportunity for the depackager. Thank you.
Yeah, I can answer that. Unfortunately, no. Eligible costs are those that occur after you receive a notice to proceed from us, which is after we have a signed contract in place. So it would be after the solicitation process and award when those costs could become eligible.
And hopefully that answers your question, Ruben. If there's anything you'd like to add, you can go ahead and do so. If not, we'll go to Mia Hoffman. Mia, you're unmuted on our end.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was wondering about the in-vessel composting projects. If a city were to procure an in-vessel composting machine for a commercial entity, could we pass that on to them in terms of future maintenance and ownership, or would we still have to own and maintain the machine?
I believe you would have to own and maintain the machine, but we can get back to you after the meeting with a more certain answer.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next question is from Susan Contreras. You're unmuted on our end.
Hi, I was just wondering if there's going to be any future cycles for SB 1383 implementation assistance grants?
Yes, I believe so, because we still have the remaining funds that have to get out. I just personally don't have information on the other programs. I don't know if anyone else on the line does.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marissa. This is Michelle Martin. Just wanted to let you know that, yes, there will be another round of 1383 funding. We're currently in the planning stages for that. And so we're developing the criteria right now. and we'll come back to this group when we have more information. Thanks.
Thank you both. Going back to Ruben Hernandez. Ruben, would you like to ask your question regarding the Air Resource Board's Advanced Clean Fleets regulation?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Ray, and good to see you. Yeah, do you guys, are there any grants available, or will there be any grants available to help waste haulers comply with CARB's Advanced Clean Fleets regulation to transform our fleets into zero emission vehicles, and then the infrastructure needed to support those zero emission vehicles? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Ruben. Not at this point. We haven't identified any funding sources or programs by which to address that. That said, I want to note that the dust hasn't fully settled on the Advanced Clean Fleets regulation, and there's ongoing work being done at the Air Resources Board to potentially phase in the requirements a little bit, give a little bit more time for certain waste-related fleet operations, et cetera. So make sure you're tuning into that if you're interested. But if we do develop any sort of program for that, we'll let you guys know.
The next question I'm seeing is from Jenny Weiss. You're unmuted on our end.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was just wondering if, so we're still trying to figure out, how to process our organics, our food waste. And, we have an RFP going out. We don't know what the feedstock is going to be of the firm that, answers the RFP. So, but there's a lot of us that are very interested in our Waste Management Authority purchasing a depackager. But if we're not prepared to use it for a year or two, is that frowned upon? Is there a time limit? I think I know the answer, but thought I would ask. Thank you.
Yeah, it needs to be installed and used by the end of the grant term, so April 1st.
Okay, thank you.
Date, yeah.
That's all of the questions that we have in the chat so far. If there's anything in the SLCP inbox, please let us know. Chris says Mother Kathy.
I'm not seeing anything, Ray.
I'm not either.
Okay, then. We'd like to do a 5-minute break before we go to the jurisdiction panelists. Okay, sounds like some of the panelists would appreciate a quick break. We'll go ahead and reconvene at 2 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Ready? 2 o'clock. Welcome back, everybody. Go ahead and get started with our panelists. Go ahead and get started. I'll pass it to you, Kathy. Let me go ahead and get my screen shared. And off to you.
Thanks, Ray.
Absolutely.
There we go. Okay, first up we have from the city of San Mateo. Yvette Madera, Senior Waste Zero Specialist, Recology, San Mateo County. Also presenting along with her is Alex Rainier, Senior Waste Zero Specialist, Recology, San Mateo County as well. And Jack Johnson, Waste Management Supervisor for the City of San Mateo.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us here today. My name is Yvette Madera, and I'm here with my colleague, Alex Rainier. We are joined by Jack Johnson, Waste Management Supervisor with the City of San Mateo. Alex and I are both Senior Waste Zero Specialists with Recology San Mateo County, the franchised hauler for the 11 jurisdictions that make up the South Bayside Waste Management Authority, or commonly known as Rethink Waste Service Area, from Burlingame to East Palo Alto. We provide collection programs for the compost, recycle, and garbage. And today we're going to be discussing outreach and education with implementing compost collection in the multifamily dwelling sector, also known as MFDs, which include apartments, condos, and townhomes. Next slide, please. In preparation of SB 1383, we have been focused on targeting the MFD sector to enroll the accounts that are not currently subscribed to compost. Some of the challenges that we found in implementing compost programs in the MFD sector include enrollment and participation. In our service area, MFDs must enroll in the compost program, which includes yard waste, clippings, food scraps, and soiled paper products. The compost program is an added cost for the MFDs based on the size of the container and the frequency of the collection. There is no default size like there is for the single family home sector, where the customer chooses the size of the garbage container and they automatically will get enrolled into the 64-gallon recycle and the 96-gallon compost. It can also be challenging getting in contact with the right person, and it may take numerous phone calls and emails to initiate a compost program. Next slide, please. To address the challenges that come up when implementing composting programs, Recology has a dedicated team of Waste Zero specialists to focus on reaching out to non-compliant MFDs. The Waste Zero team is focused on implementing recycling and composting programs to help property managers to be in compliance with SB 1383. Given there are multiple service scenarios in the MFD sector, our Waste Zero team will review the best compost service options for that particular complex. It can take contacts to the property to connect with an owner, property manager, and discuss SB 1383 regulation, and to provide service level recommendations, pricing, resources, and next steps. Once the property has agreed to implement compost, the Waste Zero team distributes public outreach and education to residents of that multifamily dwelling to ensure the program is successful by empowering the individual residents to participate. Each Waste Zero specialist works directly with our customers through on-site meetings, trainings, presentations, community tabling events, and door-to-door outreach. In this photo, you can see Heather, one of our Waste Zero specialists, providing a door-to-door outreach with some of our resources that we provide. She is placing door hangers, offering kitchen pails to an MFD that just started the program and is now in compliance with SB 1383.
Next slide. So let's talk more about the importance of outreach and education. We work in partnership with Rethink Waste, who is the lead agency for the development of outreach and education collateral. Rethink Waste is the Joint Powers Authority, or JPA, which consists of the 11 jurisdictions who Recology provides collection services for. A collateral piece that was developed this year was the SB 1383 door hanger. For each new compost program that is started, the SB 1383 door hangers are delivered. The door hanger has information notifying the resident of the new green compost container available at the property. It also has information on SB 1383 regulation, benefits of composting, illustrations of what materials are accepted and not accepted in the program, and how they can receive a free kitchen pail if they're interested. Also on the door hanger is a QR code that links to a video on composting best practices at an MFD. The video is available in the 3 most commonly spoken languages in our service area: English, Spanish, and Chinese. Because we are typically working with the property manager or HOA board to roll out the compost program, the door hanger is an important piece of outreach that we can use to get information into the hands of all participants, into the hands of all residents. Recology provides a free kitchen pail to each resident as a tool to increase participation. The kitchen pail is a resource that helps residents separate materials within their homes before bringing it down to the designated green compost container. This helps to keep the waste streams clean. The kitchen pail has a graphic sticker on the outside of the pail, plus a tip card that shows what materials are and are not accepted. We have found success in a combination of both pub ed materials and other forms of outreach provided by Waste Zero specialists, like door-to-door outreach or partnering with the property manager at a multifamily complex to send out an email blast or an evening training with an HOA. Next slide, please. To provide an example of the outreach efforts that the Waste Zero team provides to implement a successful compost program, we wanted to share a success story in San Mateo. This is a 300 plus unit HOA condominium that includes a senior living building and also the different townhomes. One of the challenges with this property was shared enclosures with limited space. To evaluate and problem solve, we conducted multiple on-site walkthroughs to review which container size would best fit and attended HOA meetings to discuss the process of implementation and service level recommendations and pricing. At a complex of this size, we often choose to roll out compost services in phases and then increase service over a select period of time that makes sense for that particular property. We also avoid decreasing garbage initially to avoid overflow issues and allow time for residents to become familiar with the new program. Here, the compost service was started at 3 enclosures. After a few weeks, we then provided additional compost containers at the remaining enclosures. Next slide, please. What made this particular complex such a success was the partnership and collaboration with the city and the complex. We partnered with the City of San Mateo's Public Works Department to provide door-to-door outreach and kitchen pails and pub ed for each of the 300 plus residents. In this photo, you can see Yvette with Lance Hall, the downtown coordinator with the City of San Mateo, delivering kitchen pails. Now we're going to turn it over to Jack Johnson, Waste Management Supervisor with the City of San Mateo, to talk about the jurisdiction's role in the compost program implementation.
Thank you, Alex and Yvette. The City of San Mateo is grateful to have great partners in our waste hauler, Recology of San Mateo, and Rethink Waste, the organization that manages our joint powers authority. Yvette and Alex are easy and wonderful to work with, and I'm very glad to have them on my team. The way things work for us is that Recology and Rethink handle the day-to-day education outreach, creating the materials and handling the majority of the actual hard work of the on-the-ground outreach. And I just sit back and reflect in what they've done. So the city supports these efforts financially and steps in when asked, such as when an HOA project that Yvette and Alex just presented on, or when required by law to do so in our legal enforcement role. And that's sort of what I want to concentrate on today, because I think that's the thing that all of us as jurisdictions in California are going to have to gear up for 1383 when the enforcement and penalties kick in. None of us likes enforcement because we would much rather reach compliance through positive outreach, education, subtle persuasion, etc. Unfortunately, the vast majority of our residents and businesses in San Mateo are with us and comply with mandates like AB 1826 and SB 1383. But for those who don't, the city must use its enforcement, inspection, and fining powers in order to compel compliance. Increasingly, mainly because of 1383, jurisdictions are going to have to step in and exercise these powers if they haven't already. That's one reason I am thankful about last summer's re-emphasis on 1826 compliance. It gave us a way to practice for what's going to be necessary in the coming years. So after all of our other efforts that Yvette and Alex were just telling you about to reach compliance with 1826, Recology then reached out to us and lets us know which accounts are non-compliant. The city developed a notice of violation letter that we used to begin the notification process. It informs the account holder of their legal responsibilities and the sections of the municipal code that they are violating by being out of compliance. We had great success in sending these out via certified mail. It led to a very high compliance rate with accounts that for years had been resistant to compliance. It looks very official, and it talks about fines and penalties and the legal counsel and stuff like that. And for those who were thinking it was a joke, it focused the mind and they largely became compliant. We reduced our compliance from 191 accounts that were out of compliance down to 7 that were out of compliance within a matter of months through these letters and on the ground persuasion using these letters. So in anticipation that more enforcement will be necessary in 2024 after the fines and penalties required under 1383 kick in, we are now developing more rigorous inspection and enforcement training for our staff, and we'll be revising our notice of violation process and citation procedures over this year. The way we look at it is we are under a climate emergency, and the city looks at 1383 as the first effort we can make to reduce the impacts of climate change caused by human behavior. And we would be happy to share the tools that we have developed with anyone, because we are all in this together. Thank you all very much for having us today. And I don't know if they want questions now or at the end of the rest of the jurisdiction's presentations, but we will stick around and answer any questions there are.
And if you're able to go to the next slide, you might be able to see an example, of Jack's letter.
Oh, I apologize. I'm reading from my own notes. I thought that was up there all along.
No, no worries.
Yeah, there is an example of the notice of violation on the last slide. I don't know that you can see it or read it, but I'd be happy to send that to anybody who would like to use it as a template for something that worked for us. Jake, anybody who sends me their email in the chat, I will send the letter to. There we go. Thank you all. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Kathy, would you like to introduce our next guest?
Absolutely. For City of Fireball, we have Lori Zaninovich, the Recycling Programs Manager from Mid-Valley Disposal.
Hi, everybody. Again, just thanking CalRecycle for having us. Mid-Valley is very proud to represent Fireball in general and especially on this call. So again, I'm the Recycling Programs Manager here with Mid-Valley, and we'll just get started. So if we want to go to the next slide. So really, this isn't going to be groundbreaking, especially with what we just heard from the other presenter. The Mid-Valley approach is really identifying the challenges for our particular businesses, in this case, multifamilies, which can include space constraints, illegal dumping, all sorts of things. We approach them with an education first, mentality. So regular engagement with our community. A very successful approach that we've had is with our pilot programs, really finding our champions in the community, and our partnerships, which are very important, especially with our city of Firebaugh in achieving the goals to tackle compliance for all of our multifamily. So I'm going to kind of dive into each one of these topics really quickly. So if we can go to the next slide. So really the challenges that we see predominantly with our multifamilies in Firebaugh has been space constraints, a lack of personnel on site, someone who's really a decision maker. We have a lot of multifamily developments where the management may not be on site at all. They're in another state or town. And so having to find that contact information, a lot of staff turnover, a lot of contamination, illegal dumping. And as we've gone through COVID, that added a whole nother set of constraints on our ability to outreach and gain compliance. So if we could go to the next slide. So our education and outreach, like I said, Mid-Valley is education first, and this is really driven by our communities as well. We approach that through attempting to meet all of our customers exactly where they're at. So we look for every opportunity to engage in our communities, whether that's at tabling events. We also do, as was mentioned before, very targeted outreach and educational material. We do it in appropriate languages, depending on our communities. We also do a lot of useful take-homes. We also have a compost bucket that we take out to our events. This has been a huge love of our communities. Whenever we bring that out, you're going to see a line out the door. We also created a how-to guide with our compost bucket, so we make sure that it's useful and used rather than just another bucket in the household, and really getting folks used to how do we get the table scraps from our counter out into the trash can in a manageable way. We also do very targeted and customized trainings for staff. This is especially beneficial with multifamily developments to get the staff trained on what's required of them, as well as setting up community trainings with residents within a multifamily development. Next slide, please. So, like I said, our biggest success outside of regular site visits, which we have a very comprehensive staff here of recycling coordinators who are meeting in our businesses regularly, reaching out constantly, following up on contamination issues and things like that. But really our success in a lot of our multifamily developments and Firebaugh has been around pilot programs. Finding those folks in those apartment complexes or developments that can be a champion. Anyone who's worked in outreach for any amount of time knows that you find your sort of compatriot in the community, and they will be a mouthpiece to spreading the word much more effectually than anyone with an outside company can do. So a few examples: Helm Canal Apartments, Garlic City Property Apartments, and Fresno Housing Senior Living Apartments. These were particularly challenging developments, but it was working diligently with our recycling coordinator to find those champions in those developments, get them trained on how to properly utilize those services, get them the tools, the compost buckets, the education material, and get them started on the programs. And then just following up, really targeting those communities and consistent follow-up. So it's connecting with those tenants, educating folks so they can peer share with one another, and really doing that regular check-in. Once you've established a program, you shouldn't assume that it is good to go. You need to continue to follow up and nurture, if you will, that community engagement with their organics program. As well, you know, you're going to have regular, like I said, changeovers in staff, so that's going to need to be retraining. And we really talk to our staff here at Mid-Valley about not being sort of frustrated when you have to start brand new with a development or a business, because it's just an opportunity to educate one more person on how to utilize those cans properly and affect change in the environment in our communities. So if we can go to the next slide. I would say that this is honestly our biggest key to success when it comes to engaging in a multifamily development and getting them on board with their organics program. We have a phenomenal relationship with the city of Firebaugh. They have really committed to this process, to breaking down barriers. You'll hear a lot about space constraints, and when you have a city that is willing to talk about their codes and you know, their expectations there for their communities, and they're really committed to compliance, they will engage with you on making sure that those barriers are alleviated for the businesses. So we just have regular city staff engagement, identifying those key partners within the city, whether that's code enforcement, our public works officials, anyone in the city who is willing to be a supporter of getting these programs going. And luckily we have a phenomenal partner in Firebaugh. And it's really, like I said, that follow-up. So just regular updates and meetings, really staying up to date on where their compliance is, where challenges are. We also went through an automatic rollout process last year when we really needed to clean up our 1826 and 341 numbers. And we had our cities fully involved in sending out letters as well, really aggressive turnaround times and making sure that people were held accountable and we were able to get that compliance. And my last point is just really engaging your partners, city staff, other you know, community groups that can be a support for what's needed to get done, and really just proactive engagement, creative problem solving. You know, we will create any material that's needed, meet anyone at any meeting that they'd like to be at. And there's never a group too small to sort of share what's needed to get done and sort of affect change. So I don't think any of this is sort of groundbreaking, but it really is that, I'll just say partnership, and open lines of communication with not only the staff at a development, the tenants at that development, and your city officials, community groups, and re-engagement. So that's kind of all I have. So my last slide is just a thank you.
Thank you so much, Lori and San Mateo team. We'll go ahead and have a quick Q&A session, focusing our questions on these two panelists. Our first question comes from Jacob Vogenberg. Based on the timing, it looks like this is for San Mateo. Are your compost containers lockable?
Our compost containers are traditionally not lockable. You can add a lock to any of our containers, metal or carts, but it is an additional cost and an additional key charge. So that's an extra service for the customer that we can provide. Otherwise, the containers are usually just the lids. And you know, if there's any sort of personal security that customers want to add on, you know, that's fine as well.
Thank you. A few of these questions aren't.
Jack, did you want to add something?
I do. I don't quite know what that question is referencing, but I moved here from Aspen, Colorado, and ran a composting program there, and we had lockable, bear-proof containers, both small 2-gallon buckets that had a screw lock that we gave to residents, and also outdoor containers that were metal and bear-proof. And I'd be happy. I'd have to do some research because it's been 5 years. But if anybody wants to email me I could show you the resources that we used for lockable containers. That may be a problem with some of our friends in the Sierras. Critters. Anyway, I'll shut up. Thank you.
No, thank you, Jack. Some of our next questions aren't geared toward a specific party. So if MDV wants to jump in, based on the timing, it does seem to be towards San Mateo as well. From Michelle Hunt. Michelle, you are unmuted on our end. If you'd like to go ahead and ask your question regarding carts versus bins.
Yeah, I was just curious, are you guys typically using carts for your multifamily units, or are you using, are you using bins, detachable bins as well?
Yeah, I can answer for Recology San Mateo County, and then Lori, if you wanted to add what options are available in your area, that'd be great. We provide either option depending on the size of the property and the space available for the property. It's really just like that success story that we provided an example for. It's really working with the property itself, since all multifamily dwellings really are a bit different from one another, and you'll have different options there. Our Waste Zero team will conduct service level recommendations, and then it's really up to the property manager working with them on what is the best fit for that property. So in a lot of cases, we've provided the carts, and that's kind of, one option that most properties go with depending on their size. But we've also rolled out the metal containers as well, especially with our larger properties and properties that really want to now put all of their gardening, lawn clippings, yard waste. They want their gardener to now use that container as well. They opt for a larger container.
Yeah, and I would just second, we have both options in all of our communities as well. I will say that for most folks that are just getting started, their default option is going to be to a cart, because that's going to seem to them as the least sort of buy-in to the process, and you can sort of get them used to utilizing it and getting started with it. There is the downside to carts is the weight that it can happen when you get those wet green organics products in there. It can get too heavy for the side loader to pick up, so we do love a good bin instead, but usually for a customer, when they're just first starting to engage with a program, their propensity is for a cart.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
The next question we have is from Laurentine Brazil. You're unmuted on our end.
Okay, I was just curious about contamination. If you started, or if you have any numbers to share about what kind of contamination you have at the MFD and whatnot. Thank you.
I'm happy to take that one. It really depends. The contamination, I don't have numbers to share with you, but I know that when we do come across contamination, it's typically going to be plastic that we find, as well as plastic utensils that may say, BPI certified compostable in the compost. We do have a program where our driver will tag a container if it is contaminated. And then there's a process where that information goes to our customer service. They are able to then contact the customer to let them know that there's some contamination taking place. And they have, the option to clear it out and then have it collected at a later date.
Yeah.
Your question. All right,
Yeah.
Lori, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to say the same thing. I don't have specific numbers to share with you, but I can say contamination definitely happens. we have a very responsive program, and that's where I'm going to say, and I think Recology was making kind of the same point, it's continuing to follow up. So once we get these programs implemented, it's not a one-off. You go back out once you notice a small level of contamination, you re-engage on education, you see where you can fill in those blanks, and it's having that dedicated staff to be really responsive to what they're seeing in the waste stream. And so we rely on our drivers to identify, our recycling coordinators to have regular site visits on these things. We can't just trust that you sign them up for a new service and now everyone knows how to use it. So it's building into your system that you will need to regularly follow up.
Martine, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Oh, thank you. I wasn't able to unmute. Yeah, that's perfect. I was just wondering, with the presentation, if you were seeing something different with factor or behavior change. Of course, there's a learning curve, and for whatever reason, most people have difficulties with organics, recycling, resonating. So that's all good, great information. So thank you.
Thank you. We have another question from Michelle Hunt regarding waivers. Michelle, would you unmute yourself and ask you a question?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot I asked this one. Have you guys gotten any requests for waivers from multifamily dwellings? We seem to be getting a lot here, and going through the process has been interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, so I can say absolutely. And this is an education change of, a multifamily was used to that the green can meant yard waste. And so if they have a yard guy that hauls everything away, they didn't feel like they needed the green can. And so it's re-educating. We get a lot of, they all have garbage disposal, so why do we need this as well? And it's really just explaining compliance. And again, like I said, start out with a cart. Let's get you guys just going on this program and used to it, and then see what your diversion looks like. And if we add the green cart, how can we adjust your other services and making it financially make sense?
Have you had anyone where you've approved the waiver?
For a multifamily?
Yes.
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
The next question I'm seeing is from Cole Yotzall, and it's regarding contamination, or sorry, outreach strategies. So you're unmuted on our end.
Hello. Okay, thank you. Yeah, my question was more towards the recycling coordinators for Recology. I'm the outreach and education coordinator for the garbage company in Windsor. And I'm still pretty new to the position, like been here for around 4 months. And I was just curious to hear about some strategies for businesses that have subscribed to organics, so they're compliant in that sense. But from doing waste audits, just noticing that some of them are still not filling the cart very frequently. I was just curious to hear some of your strategies on how you follow up with them and how you educate. Yeah, I was just curious to hear that.
Yeah, that's great. Congrats in their position. You'll be very busy, I'm sure, in the next year or so. Definitely, as Lori has mentioned, it just takes a lot of follow-up. So glad to hear that you're doing waste audits. It's going to take some time for a commercial business or multifamily dwelling for people to get used to the program. And it really is being able to provide as many resources as you can to ensure the program's successful. So, definitely implementing the program at first. If they, don't take any trainings or public education material, when you go back and do that audit, following up with them and saying, hey, I did an audit and this is what I'm still finding, this is why I think a training is necessary, or when's the next time you can meet? I'm dropping off some stickers and posters for you, really making sure that they know how accountable you are and wanting to help them have a successful program, really partnering and trying to help them understand that this is really to their benefit and you want to help them along in that process. I hope that answers your question.
I would also add, Alex, that sometimes, we help them create like service announcement letters, or that they could email to their employees for commercial businesses and multifamily dwellings, kind of just reiterating the program and saying, hey, let's do, better at this. And that seems to work.
Mm-hmm. Thank you both. We have some requests for San Mateo's notice of violation letter. So just to let everybody know, we are unable to add it to the chat, but we are documenting all of your email addresses for those requests, and we'll go ahead and make sure we get that to you. Or I believe Jack I believe there's an email address in the chat as well if you'd like to email Jack directly. We have a number of questions regarding contamination, monitoring, and minimization. Unless Kara or Ashley have any other thoughts on the matter, I think we can leave that for our first peer share topic so that we can get engagement from our other speakers as well.
I agree, Ray. Let's save it, but for all of our presenters, be prepared to dive into that question when we get there.
Thank you, Kara. So with that, our next question comes from Sarah Ahern. Sarah, you are unmuted on our end if you'd like to ask your question to Lori.
Yeah, Lori, I was just wondering how large of an outreach team you have and how large of a community that outreach team is serving.
Yeah, so we doubled as Mid-Valley, our recycling department last year in response to addressing 1383. So we are, and then we split. So we have a North Valley and a South Valley. It varies. So, we have for Firebaugh, we have a coordinator that covers Firebaugh, Mendota, and a couple other jurisdictions. I would say that each one of our coordinators probably covered, probably 1,500 to 2,000 commercial accounts.
Per person? One person's covering 2,000 accounts?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, looks like we have another question from Laurentine. You're unmuted on our end.
Oh, it's about the assessments or the audits. So I thought you wanted to wait for those. Did you want that now? Questions about that now? Okay, so I was curious, when you do the assessments or the bin audits, are you just looking at what's at the top of the container when you flip the lid? Or do you tear bags and kind of dig in there to see what contamination looks like?
Is this for either one of us? I can just answer for me. So we do lid flipping. We also have a camera system on all of our trucks that monitors as the can is actually being flipped to take photo of the cans. I don't encourage my staff to tear into bags because I think that can lead to a whole safety and hazard issue. But we also do contamination monitoring back here at our MRF facility as well to do audits of routes and things like that.
Yeah. And the only reason I'm, not commenting further is really echoing Lori. It sounds like our programs are really similar. So, our team of 6, about 1,500 accounts per person. And then in terms of monitoring, very similar. All of our trucks have cameras on them to see what material is going into the hopper. But there's also, like Cole had mentioned, we do also waste audits where we'll go out and specifically look at targeted accounts and make sure that what's going inside, that there is no organic material going into any of the landfill containers. And it really is just dependent on how detailed the audit is. So sometimes it's simply just opening the lid and seeing the contents. And sometimes that's enough. You can really tell if someone's adding, yard waste into the bin or something like that. Other times the bags are see-through, you can see right into them. There's a bunch of paper towels in there, or you might need to rip open a bag. We have different variations of types of audits that we can provide.
Thank you. I believe our last question for this segment, before moving on to our next group of panelists, is from Jacob Vogenberg, from the city of Norco. Jacob, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question regarding waivers and space enclosures?
Hey there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jacob.
Awesome. So we are in the midst of dealing with lots of waivers, and especially for multifamily units and some of the older residential complexes in California. They're definitely tight on space, and we've been dealing with space waivers and how to deal with space constraints because we require all bins to be within trash enclosures. So for either Lori or anyone from Recology, have you been dealing with overcoming space constraints? And if so, how have you been dealing with that?
Yeah, I can go ahead and start. Definitely, we also have a lot of older buildings, even newer buildings, sometimes get tight on space. It's California and space is definitely a high commodity. So we also hear that people don't want to take up parking spaces or they don't want to put it out in the open. And we try our best to work with the property manager or work with the HOA board, as Lori said, maybe a champion that's living within the residence, to really find a place, because there are spots that I think people may not at first think would be a place to put their compost container, but really looking at a more of a compliance lens and wanting to ensure that the property is in compliance with SB 1383. And if they are generating organic material, they're required to have that compost cart on site. And so really trying to compromise and find a spot where it works best for the residents, but also is, accessible to everyone, and maybe not something somewhere they might have originally placed it. We also like to work with them on service levels. Can we pull away a garbage cart? Can we reduce the garbage in size and add an equivalent of the compost? Maybe they don't need 4 recycling containers. We can take away a recycling container, have that go more frequently and add a compost cart. Really looking at all cases and all scenarios before just automatically having them apply for a waiver.
Yeah, and I would just echo Alex's point. The space constraint waiver, any waiver really for us is a last resort, but especially a space constraint waiver. We'll Google Earth it. We'll have our operations team get out there. There's always going to be no first, right? When you're starting a new program. And especially if they know that there's a waiver out there, how can we qualify for this? We even, and like I said, partnership in another one of our cities, they had an ordinance where they wouldn't allow their trash cans to be visible. So a lot of our businesses were sort of relying on that ordinance within the city to keep them from having to add services. We worked with our city and it's really the temperament of the area. They were committed to state compliance, and that to them was more important than their city ordinance. So they were push it. They wanted to make sure that everyone had the services that they needed to be compliant. So to Alex's point, it's just getting creative and having some answers to the no. But a lot of people do try to push the space constraint waiver, and generally speaking, you can fit it somewhere.
Thank you both. If we did not get to your question during that segment, please go ahead and send it to the slcp.organics inbox. We'll follow up. We will have another Q&A session after our next group of panelists. So we hopefully will have time to get to everybody, as well as that peer share opportunity. We'll talk about contamination, other minimization and monitoring aspects of that. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it to Kathy to go ahead and begin our next panelist. Thank you so much.
Presenting for Recycle Smart from Contra Costa County, formerly Central Contra Costa Solid Waste Authority. Jen Fott, Contract Compliance Specialist. They're from Recycle Smart, and Tessa Gresdo, Recycling Coordinator from Republic Services.
All right, thank you, Kathleen. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Jen Fott from Recycle Smart, not to be confused with CalRecycle's I Recycle Smart campaign. And I'm filling in for our Senior Program Manager, Judith Silver, who is not able to be here today. I'd like to thank CalRecycle for the opportunity to present on our multifamily program. And I'll start with an overview of our franchise requirements and some of our education and outreach. Then I'll turn it over to Tessa from Republic Services. Tessa is one of the recycling coordinators who works in our service area, and I'm happy that she could join us today. She'll walk through a few specific case studies and talk about some of the barriers, challenges, and some successes that we've had with our multifamily sector. Next slide, please. So we are a joint powers authority. So we're a type of local government agency formed in 1996. And we have 6 member agencies: Walnut Creek, Lafayette, Danville, Orinda, Moraga, and Contra Costa County, for whom we provide service for portions of the unincorporated county areas. We have a 12-member board. 2 of the elected city council or board members from each of our member agencies sit on our board. We have about 65,000 single-family accounts, about 500 multifamily accounts, and about 2,000 commercial accounts. And we serve about 230,000 residents in our service area. Next slide, please. So our agency-wide diversion rate in 2021, diversion equivalent, was 65%, which is about 3.3 pounds per person per day of disposal. We have a franchise agreement with Republic Services for our garbage recycling and organics collection services. With our organics, we can include food and food soil paper, and we have been able to do that for about 10 years. Republic also owns the landfill and the compost facility where our materials are taken. We have a separate franchise agreement with Mount Diablo Resource Recovery for processing our single stream recycling. Next slide, please. Okay, so we currently have about 506 multifamily complexes in our service area, with some in each of our member agencies. We are AB 341 and SB 1383 compliant. Yay! But like I mentioned, we've had organics collection, including food, available to all of our sectors for about 10 years. So that has helped us get our compliance up. We recently did have to initiate service at about 8 multifamily complexes that previously were exempt from having a food scraps program, but that are now covered under 1383. And our franchise is structured so that every account has access to recycling and composting. And we provide these services through a bundled rate. That means that the customers pay only for their landfill cart or bin, and then recycling and organic service is provided at no additional cost. We found this to definitely be very helpful when we're trying to get people on board with participating in these programs. Our multifamily accounts can have carts or bins for recycling and trash service. and just carts for organics currently. We require Republic Services to use the Recyclist software to track our outreach and compliance. It's a really great tool that can track all the service levels and compliance needs that we need for all of our accounts. And it's also an easy way to get the data that we need when we are filling out our EAR every year. Next slide, please. So our franchise agreement specifically requires our hauler to provide technical assistance to each commercial account and each multifamily complex at least once per year. Our coordinators often do visit accounts multiple times throughout the year, especially when there's a new program rollout. But this requirement ensures that everybody is touched at least one time per year, which has been really great for us. Our franchise also requires that we get 4 dedicated recycling coordinators in our area, which is really great because you saw that we had, I think, smaller numbers than some of the other jurisdictions in terms of numbers of commercial accounts and multifamily complexes. And we're also going to be adding a 5th recycling coordinator as part of our franchise extension agreement. So we are excited to get in the next couple of months another recycling coordinator on board. We track all of their visits to the accounts through Recyclist. And we understand the importance of providing tools to increase the likelihood of participation for multifamily tenants. So our coordinators provide reusable tote bags for their recyclables and kitchen pails for their food scraps. In addition to the 3-sort system, multifamily residents also have access to our drop-off programs for batteries, sharps, and medications. They get free holiday tree collection, and they get an on-call e-waste collection, which is for a small fee now. Next slide, please. Every year, we mail out the multifamily service guide to both property managers and tenants. We have dedicated pages about our multifamily services on our webpage. And recently, as part of 1383 compliance, we asked Republic to develop a multifamily training video. So we're hoping that that can help property managers comply with their requirement to educate their tenants annually about their needs to sort properly and put the organics and food scraps in the green cart. I want to call out quickly the resource database tool. This is a database that Stop Waste in Alameda County developed, and that our county, Contra Costa County, has spent a lot of time populating for use in our county. It's a search tool, so a resident or a customer can search for a specific material by zip code and find out how to handle it. So that's a really great tool that's available on our website. We also have specific move in and move out brochures for multifamily tenants that include tips for reducing waste and information regarding where to take certain items when they're done with them, like packaging material or furniture or household hazardous waste. Next slide, please. This is our multifamily guide, which is updated annually. It includes service information, set out details, and these pictorial representations of what goes where with their writing on the side. It has the same look and feel as our residential and commercial service guides, so they're all similar to each other, and those are all available on our website as well. But even with all of the great elements that we have in our programs, we do still struggle with multifamily participation, and that sector has an overall 30% diversion rate. Next slide, please. These are our little dog ambassadors. Our multifamily residents can also see our more general public education and outreach that we do on social media, in newspapers, and on sides, the signs that are on the sides of Republic's collection vehicles. So this is an image from our 22-23 campaign, encouraging all of our customers to put food scraps in their green carts. We've kind of gone with dogs for a couple of our campaigns. We started out with the idea that dogs will lick our recycling containers clean for us. But what we found actually, even through a Google campaign, was that the dogs got a lot of engagement. So we have continued using dogs in some of our outreach, and we're using them for our organics outreach as well. Next slide, please. This is another outreach piece that we developed last year, focusing on what exactly can go in the green cart and what should not go in the green cart. So this is distributed to all the residents in our service area, including multifamily tenants. And we hope that it's something that they hold on to and refer to when they have questions about what to put where. That concludes my portion of the presentation. So I will turn it over to Tessa now to continue with some case study information.
Next slide, please. So first, I'm going to go over a small multifamily complex in Walnut Creek that recently started organic service called Carmel Oak Condos. This complex has 17 units and an outdoor trash enclosure. They have an HOA, but no on-site property management staff. They currently have 3 96-gallon landfill carts serviced 2 times a week, 5 96-gallon recycle carts serviced 1 time a week, and 1 96-gallon organics cart service 1 time a week. Next slide, please. I've been working with the property management team for this site for about 2 years, and initially they were not very responsive. So just as everyone else, I continued to check in and explain SB 1383 and how we can help support them in rolling out organics for this complex. And eventually I did hear back, and they told me they were going to share all of this information with the HOA board. And just a few days later, I heard back from a HOA board member letting me know that they're ready to roll out organics for this complex, and they were going to be the one helping to do that, which was really exciting. So I met with that member on site just to review our organics program again, and then provided them with outreach materials and food scrap pails for each of the units there, which they were going to distribute door to door, and just explain the program to residents. And while I was there, also made sure the enclosure had the correct posters. That way, when residents were source separating their material, they always had something to reference. And this experience was really helpful that we had a champion, just as other speakers have mentioned, on site to help get the program going. It's really helpful when the property manager isn't always on site to have a resident there who's willing to distribute outreach materials, keep an eye on the program, and get other residents excited about composting their food scraps. Next slide, please. And next is a much larger complex in Walnut Creek called The Keys. They have 792 units. It's a mix of homeowners and renters. Their buildings have chutes for trash and recycling. They have an on-site property management office, which is really helpful since it's such a large complex. And they also do have an HOA board as well. They currently have 28 landfill dumpsters serviced twice a week, 19 recycle dumpsters serviced twice a week, and are starting off with 6 96-gallon organic carts, which are serviced once a week. Next slide, please. I've also been working with this complex for about 2 years. And just when we think we're ready to roll out organics, they changed their property management team. So that's happened a few times and created some pause when trying to roll out organics here. But I did meet with the current general manager, and we were just brainstorming ideas for how we can roll out organics for such a large complex and addressing any concerns that they had. The biggest concern is, where are these carts going to be stored, because they have chutes for trash and recycling. And the concern about spreading the carts out all throughout the property means that these carts were more vulnerable to contamination issues if they're left by themselves. So ultimately, they decided to create new enclosures specifically for organic carts. They're creating 2 enclosures to start, with 3 carts in each enclosure, and that will be located on both sides of the property. That way, residents will always know where to go to compost their food scraps, and our drivers will always know where the carts are located to make sure they're serviced regularly. Once they knew where they were going to be putting those organic carts, the next step was to educate residents about this. So we provided them with our physical copies of our posters, and then a lot of digital outreach materials, because they send out community letters to residents digitally. And in those newsletters, they let residents know that they could come to the management office and pick up a free food scrap pail. We started them off with 180 food scrap pails, and then we are going to replenish those pails as needed and continue to roll out pails to this complex since it is a very large complex. And something unique about this situation is the management team actually decided to purchase bio bags, which they're selling in their office to residents just to help reduce contamination issues, since a lot of the contamination we see is plastic bags being used for compost. Next slide, please. And then this slide has some of our outreach materials available. We have the recycling tote bags with the multifamily service guides that Jen showed earlier. And then our food scrap pails that come with some bio bags to start, and also this food recycling tip postcard on the left. At the bottom, you can see our recycling and composting video. And then we also have move in and move out guides that we distribute to property managers. And these are really helpful because you can see on the move in guides, the compost pail is right there, and the recycling tote bag just explaining all of the resources that are available to these residents. Next slide, please. And that's a quick update of some of the projects we're working on, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, would you like to introduce Laguna Niguel?
From City of Laguna Niguel, we have Justin Martin, Deputy City Manager for the City of Laguna Niguel, and Kevin O'Connor, Management Assistant for City of Laguna Niguel.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Thanks for having us. Again, I'm Justin Martin. I'm the Deputy City Manager here at the City of Laguna Niguel, and joining me is my colleague, Kevin O'Connor, who is our Management Assistant here at the City as well. Next slide. A little bit about the City of Laguna Niguel, for those of you who may not be familiar. We are a contract city located in South Orange County, just about at the tip of the southern part of the county. Up, back, please. Our population is just shy of 65,000, and with about 27,000 dwelling units. We are a master plan community. And with that, we have more than 120 HOAs that make up our different neighborhoods here in the city. And part of that is 45 different multifamily properties within our city boundaries. And then finally, we are a one franchise waste hauler city, and that is with CR&R. Next slide. This right here is a screenshot of our implementation timeline. We were fortunate in 2018 to renegotiate our franchise waste hauler agreement with CR&R. We'll keep going back and forth there.
Sorry about that. I think they added timing to these slides. I'm trying to get them to pause.
Sure, no problem. But as I mentioned, in 2018, we were fortunate to be renegotiating our contract waste hauler agreement with CR&R, and that really, I believe, helped to set us up for success. Again, as Lori mentioned a couple presentations ago, what we've done is not groundbreaking. We've just been incrementally creeping forward with all of our implementations. We adopted our ordinance in May of 2021. That was about 5 months after starting an internal working group. And at that time, we had 0% compliance in our multifamily dwelling. We have been very fortunate, obviously, to receive grant funding just shy of $95,000, of which we've allocated $86,000 to a consultant who is economics. They've been very instrumental in the success of our programs here in the city. And of that 60,000 has been designated towards multifamily. Our approach, just like many of the others, has been very heavily focused on outreach and education. We're very strategic about splitting our multifamily properties between our economics consultant and our franchise waste hauler. We have committed to the residents and to our city council to take that education first approach, which is one of the items identified in our city's adopted strategic plan. So not only did we set our own goals, but the city council adopted our goals for this implementation. So we've really stuck with moving forward on that through implementation of all these different objectives. And then here we are today. We're 100% compliant with residential and commercial, and currently 86% compliant with our multifamily dwellings. Next slide. So I mentioned the renegotiation of our franchise agreement in 2018. Again, I believe this really set us up for success. Working with our consultants and our public works team and our city attorney, we really saw the writing on the wall about the things that were coming down the pipeline from the state. So we were very proactive with adding, all of the items that you see here. Again, we are a single waste hauler here in the city, but our new agreement obviously included residential, commercial, and multifamily. We've heard multiple folks today talk about the different staff support that they have. Our franchise agreement with our waste hauler includes 2 what we call sustainability coordinators. They assist heavily in the implementation. They are our boots on the ground. They are, flipping lids. They are meeting with property managers. They've been very instrumental. Part of our contract was that we got to have a role in who CR&R selected for these roles. So that's been helpful to make sure that they fit the customer service requirements that we have as a city. Obviously, we included incentives for the waste hauler to meet their goals. If they meet our established goals as part of our agreement, their contract is eligible for extension. So there's a bit of a dangling carrot there, which has been an important implementation that's been successful. Since 2019, we've been distributing kitchen pails to all residents in all types of units, single family, multifamily, et cetera. The agreement again includes very extensive reporting requirements for SB 1383. And then obviously the carrot for the residents is a 50% rate incentive for participating voluntarily in these programs. After that franchise agreement, you heard me mention on the last slide, adoption of our ordinance in December of 2020. We formed an internal working group, which included myself and Kevin O'Connor, who'll be speaking to in a few moments, our city attorney, several members of our public works team, and then our consultants from economics, which again, kind of led us through a 5-month process to drafting our ordinance to being able to present that to our elected officials here in the city. And they adopted that in May of 2021. And our commitment to them and to the community at that time was to take that educational first approach to really push the communications, to take a gentler, kinder approach that was free for a long time of notice of violations. And that served us well. Next slide, please. From there, we developed our course of action. So obviously, I think everyone on this call has the same overarching goals of compliance in all areas, single family, commercial, and multifamily properties. But we did what we thought worked best for us is we separated single family, commercial, and multifamily into 3 different phases. And we didn't touch multifamily until single family and commercial were just about 100% compliant. So we took a staggered approach. We thought that as a city with our resources from staffing perspective and a time allocation, that was the best approach for us. I believe that that's worked very well. It let us tailor our message to the different audiences, whether that be in print or on social media or on video. And again, that led us to what was our strategic approach to compliance? Again, extensive community outreach and education, which was easy to understand. It included, again, all of our social media platforms, our government channel, information at our community events, etc. We very heavily utilized our grant funding, which I mentioned earlier, to produce and create and to distribute those outreach materials. And then again, in all of those different objectives, you see there single family, commercial, and multifamily, but now especially in multifamily, we were able to move away from implementation into not only gaining compliance, but into maintaining compliance as well. So with that, that's my general overview. Kevin O'Connor, my colleague, is going to move into a little bit more specifics about all of those items. So Kevin, please feel free to take it away. And next slide.
Thank you, Justin. So as Justin mentioned, grant funding was very key for us. So at the time the grant was announced, the city, we knew we wanted to use the funds for multifamily implementation, but we weren't really sure the best approach to use that funding. So our SB 1383 working group all came together, and that included our franchise waste hauler and our consultant economics. And it was determined that the highest priority was providing additional education and outreach to the multifamily properties in our city. Through this process, we believed we could best increase multifamily implementation. Once we made that determination, we were able to use our existing on-call agreement with our consultant to avoid having to go through the RFP process, which allowed us to proceed once we obtained council approval and hit the ground running. Since our proposed use for grant funding aligned with our city's adoption strategic plan, we knew that the support of the city council was behind us long before we ever drafted the staff report. So in total, we allocated approximately $86,000 to our consultant, with roughly $60,000 going directly to multifamily implementation. The remaining funds went to covering the cost of administrative fees, troubleshooting space constraints, monitoring, and reporting requirements. In the city, we have 45 multifamily properties, so we split that up between our franchise waste hauler and our consultant. Can you go to the next slide, please, Ray? So the city's approach has and continues to be education, enforcement through education and outreach. We proceeded with avoiding going with an automatic rollout. We believed wouldn't create the same level of buy-in from our residents. Some of the resources that were utilized outside of our consultants during outreach were the city's 2 dedicated sustainability coordinators that Justin mentioned that were negotiated in our franchise waste agreement. We continued to conduct an ongoing social media campaign to educate residents about organics recycling, with all social media content linking back to our city's SB 1383 dedicated webpage. Additionally, we continue to utilize opportunities presented to the city to conduct outreach at low or no cost to the city. These included quarterly billing inserts and mailers that are built into our franchise agreement, as well as newsletters from both the city and the Chamber of Commerce. Part of the SB 1383 implementation that was really important to us was making sure we had the business community supporting it, since we are a business-friendly city. Laguna Niguel, like many South Orange County cities, is comprised of many HOAs. As such, the city hosts biannual HOA outreach meetings, often with over 100 people in attendance. And we send out quarterly newsletters to a mailing list of over 100 people who represent their HOAs. And this gave us an opportunity to talk about the pertinent subjects to HOAs regarding organics recycling in SB 1383. Sometime early next month, the city will be conducting a virtual education session alongside our franchise waste hauler and environmental services consultant. We believe this is going to provide us a strong opportunity to connect directly with our residents and answer any questions they may have. We also commissioned an organics recycling video that I encourage everyone to view on our website. And it explains how to participate in the organics program and the benefits of doing so. Many cities in the area have explored using our video and made it their own, which is great, and we're happy to help with that. We've also taken every opportunity we have to engage face-to-face with our residents. When appropriate, we invite our franchise waste hauler to conduct outreach at city events to share information about the program. We're also transparent with our residents who may be frustrated by these new recycling requirements. We share with them not only the positive environmental impacts that SB 1383 is intended to address and the potential cost savings for them, but also that this is a state and local mandate, and failing to implement this program may result in general fund dollars being spent over fees. Can you go to the next slide, Ray? So over the past 9 months, we have faced obstacles and pushbacks from HOA boards and property managers, similar to what has been mentioned previously. Some of the most common challenges were space constraints, both the perceived and reality of them, finding the right contact information. As mentioned, there's been a lot of turnover in those positions frequently, and it can be challenging to find the right contact. And just getting resident buy-in. That's so important to being successful in SB 1383. So some of the strategies we utilize is we relied heavily on our franchise waste haulers, sustainability coordinators, the field implementation coordinators that are a part of our consultants agreement that go out into the field with our multifamily properties to implement these programs. Oftentimes, many of the perceived challenges that HOAs and multifamily dwellings have are just that, they're perceived, and with some patience and education, we're able to help them address the issues. We utilize split blends and right sizing when appropriate. And we continue to meet with property managers and HOA boards throughout the process, help them with the implementation process, answer questions. And when necessary, we have enlisted the help of code enforcement to issue notice of violations to help move the implementation process along. In Laguna Niguel, you can be issued up to 3 notice of violations before an administrative citation is issued. In total, we have issued notice of violations to 8 of the city's 45 multifamily properties. And I'm happy to say that we've never had to use more than 1 notice of violation for each property. So we've been very strong in that area. This is in line with the city's commitment to education and outreach with our residents and community members. Lastly, we have utilized strong ongoing internal communications between the city's franchise waste hauler and consultant who have a large presence in South Orange County. Can you go to the next slide, please? So where we are now with multifamily implementation. So all of this outreach and hard work has allowed the city to go from 0% multifamily implementation to 86% and just recently actually 89% now with an anticipated 100% implementation by July 1. As we continue to work to transition the last few accounts into compliance, we're now beginning to focus less on implementation of organics recycling and more on attaining compliance with SB 1383 by lowering our contamination levels. We believe this will be a difficult challenge as we're asking people to change their behaviors, but we're confident that we can continue to use our working group to address these issues. So with that, we're available for any questions, and please feel free to contact us offline as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions. We have our first question coming from, a request for education and outreach materials from Tessa Gresdo, who inserted the link to those resources. Thank you, Tessa. Let's go ahead and go to, actually, I see a question from Kara Morgan. Kara, would you like to pose your question on the large multifamily complexes? I can go ahead and read it.
Yeah, you can read it, Ray. You know, it was just, and I think Tessa responded, but just really interested in the fact that because they have chutes in the large multifamily complex that Tessa shared, and they had to create enclosures elsewhere for their organics container, you know, how is it going with monitoring that that's working? I mean, technically the regs do require that containers, you know, be in kind of that same vicinity. And I appreciate that this is a space constraint. So to me, this would be a great example. You try it, it's successful. And if it's working, that's awesome, but important to be monitoring. So I was wondering how that was going. And then I know that tenants are provided the containers and starting off with the bio bags. And I'm wondering if there's signage at the chutes, reminding folks to take their organics, down to the enclosures. And then Tessa did mention that they are reminding the property managers to distribute the education to new tenants. So Tessa, do you have any other feedback?
So this program was just recently rolled out about 2 months ago, and I've been visiting the site a few times. I'm watching the new enclosures being built. The carts are just located together in the space, the vicinity of where the enclosures are, and it looks like the carts are being utilized. It's a good idea actually to put signage where the trash and recycling chutes are about organics and reminding residents about that. So I'll probably share that with the property manager when I check in with them, because I've been revisiting this site frequently, especially because we just started them with 180 food scrap pails and know that this is going to be a multi-phase process. So a lot of checking in is needed for such a large complex there.
Okay, the next question that we have is from Marie Knutson. You are unmuted on our end.
I think the one I put in there was I have run into a multifamily unit complex where the residents have individual accounts, and the HOA does not want to be the garbage police. So they do not want to be involved in it at all, which means rolling out 200 plus carts to each individual household. So is anybody running into that where the multifamily units do not want to share containers and the residents have individual accounts so they can do that? My other question was for a person, I just lost his name, or a person that was just presenting for the rate incentive. How long did you do that, and what were your parameters to qualify people for that?
So I can take the rate incentive piece. For us, we treat it as our organics and recycling. The cost of getting that collected and subscribing to that service is 50% the cost of trash. So it's still in place, and it just adjusts annually based on some inflation metrics.
Thank you.
I believe our next question is from Sarah Ahern regarding the enclosures. Sarah, you're unmuted on our end if you'd like to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, Tessa, you had mentioned that you have like new enclosures that are being built in other locations. I was kind of wondering who was paying for these new enclosures.
It sounds like this is something that's covered under the HOA. They're really small, just wooden lattice structures, so no fancy concrete metal enclosures. So it's pretty simple. They wanted to incorporate it into their landscaping looks, but it sounds like something that the HOA is covering.
Does the city have an ordinance regarding what kind of structures that they will approve for enclosures, or is that something that is being more lenient?
I can speak from the city of Laguna Niguel's perspective. We've actually sent some of our planners out and our building staff to the different HOA sites. As some people alluded to, people just assume they don't have the space. So first we try to work with them to try to reconfigure what's already existing. And then in several instances, we've had our planners out there talking about what our code does require to walk people from the HOA through that process. However, it is an HOA expense that they are spending themselves, not the city.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now I'm seeing a question from Rocio Ramos. I'm seeing two, so I'm gonna unmute you on both, if you can unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Colleen Foster, City of Oceanside. I think somehow I got listed as my staff. But yeah, I have a couple questions and comments. Thank you for the presentation. And in particular, I think multifamily is one of the most challenging. A couple questions I had, I'll go back on it. I guess for the whole panel, what are you seeing in regards to contamination, and in particular that multifamily sector? So, what are you seeing for average contamination? How are you monitoring that contamination? And I ask that because we have a mandatory multifamily food scraps program that, we rolled that out, put cards out whether they want it or not. And we are seeing significant contamination, even with a robust education program. So trying to see what other cities are going through and how you're resolving them.
Colleen, those are all great questions and great points.
I can take it just real quick, Ray, if you're looking for someone. We, again, are what we call our sustainability coordinators. They're literally flipping the lids to see what contamination looks like. If they're seeing contamination, they're leaving hangers behind. They're putting up additional signage in the areas where the bins are located, and revisiting them on a sporadic basis to see if there is any improvement. And I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, unfortunately, but we have seen some improvement in several of the different areas where there has been contamination due to the pushing out of that information. Again, we're very fortunate. Our property managers and HOAs, there's so many of them here, and they're so engaged that they're trying almost as hard as we are in many instances to gain this compliance because of the relationship that we've established and the ongoing communication that we have with them. So I think we're fortunate in that aspect.
And I'll answer for us. Our contamination is monitored through our annual route reviews and through the site visits that the recycling coordinators do on our behalf. So we're thinking about maybe trying some new technological tricks for monitoring contamination with upcoming grant opportunities, perhaps, or some other way to test some other technologies to check our contamination levels. But right now, that's how they're being done with the actual site visits and route reviews.
Thank you both. Before we get too far into the contamination conversation, it looks like we do have a lot of interest in discussing that. So we'll leave it for the peer share for the sake of time and being able to get insight from all of our panelists. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and move to Andrew Parrish, who is going to give us an ear update.
Thanks, Ray. All right, so really the ear update, we want to take this time to tell you what we're working on as far as some of the updates based on user feedback that we received on the kind of 2021 combo report, so that we can make it a little bit better and improve performance and make things more clear. So this is just kind of a quick summary of things we are already working on. Reordering some of the selections to make it clear what's SLCP and what is not, where that applies. Adding additional functionality to the collection container system grid, an option to select containers offered, and an option to indicate if a hauler only provides residential or commercial collection. And then in various multiple grids, what we refer to as tooltips, but adding kind of additional guidance and clarification on what to report. And then just general text cleanup as well. And I think we also wanted to use this opportunity to see if there's kind of any other suggestions, or at least get you starting to think about it, because the sooner we get that feedback, the more likely it is we can include it in the next kind of maintenance cycle of the electronic annual report. So just kind of tell you what we're working on, and then open it up to everyone on to see if there's anything else. And I guess why we wait on that to flow in, just we will, come June, still have our typical electronic annual report webinar, where we go over the webinar and show you those new features and talk about it and allow questions and to be asked at that time as well. Similar to how we did it last year. Maybe not quite as many, since hopefully you're a little bit more familiar with it. But definitely we'll have that opportunity after these changes listed on the slide are implemented. So with that, I do see a question. Do you want me to just read it out, Ray?
Sure, yeah. It's the question from Susan Contreras.
Yeah. So Susan Contreras asks, as some items such as MCR and more, what was reported through 6/22, what period will be reported in October? So that last period was a little bit funky with the due date in October. From here on out, the electronic annual report, barring new legislation, is due August 1st of each year. So that's when this upcoming report will be due. And now we've kind of gone back to our annual reporting cycle. So in August 1st, 2023, you're reporting on program implementation for everything, not just SLCP, so AB 939, MCR, more, as well as SLCP for calendar year 2022.
We have another question that came in from Colleen Foster.
Sure, I didn't see that one.
And it's Rocio Ramos. Colleen is logged in as one of their staff members.
Got it. All right, so the question, if the report is due August 1st, June is not early enough to release of report and training to fill it out. What period will EAR cover? And can EAR providing guidance earlier than June? Even with the early webinars, we still had people struggling to fill it out to October. Well, I mean, we're just kind of reverting back to the timeline we've always had. So we release the EAR and make it available starting mid-June. And then you have until August 1st to report. So maybe my timing's slightly off. It'll be end of May if we have that training, but we're just really reverting back to the same cycle we've had for many years.
Not seeing anything else quite yet.
So I see a follow-up. Yeah, sure. So the report is not undergoing kind of a, just for those, that kind of the follow-up was we were used to the old EAR, the industry not used to the new SB 1383 EAR with more to report. More time and help is greatly appreciated. Noted, and we will work to make those revisions as soon as possible and get it released as soon as possible as well. But we're not going through that massive shift that we went through last year. We're just doing slight tweaks here and there. And so you can kind of use that model from last year, and it'll be very similar. The whole grid structure is not changing significantly besides making it more user-friendly, not less. The time period, so for August 1st, 2023, you're reporting on calendar year 2022.
And Andrew, I don't know if you or Chris want to go over the limitations of early release of the year given RDRS data.
Yeah, I'll let Chris speak on that. He knows that much more better than I do. He cannot unmute. So I think the gist of what Chris is saying is that based on RDRS data, as well as employment and population data and how we receive that data, we release the year as quickly as we can after we upload that information into the system. Is kind of the gist at what Chris is saying there. And then I'm not sure, Susan Contreras, I'm assuming 7/22 to 6/23 will be the period covered. So August 1st, 2023, you're reporting on calendar year 2022. And yes, some of that will be probably duplicative because you reported on the first 6 months of 2022 in last year's year.
Hi, and I'm unmuted now. So we do have a limitation on data specific to when the fourth quarter of RDRS data is due and when that's compiled and kind of quote unquote finalized by our knowledge integration section. That's usually late May, early June-ish. And then also our MOU contract with the Employment Development Department. They are not required to deliver our employment data until June 1st of each year. And that's contractual and we can't change it for at least a couple more years. So we are limited by that. So, I mean, if not June 15th, the earliest we might be able to do it would be like June 10th. But then that in and of itself also would require a bunch of IT work to change the pre-scheduled launch dates for things. So that's kind of where we're stuck. I mean, we can't practically do it much earlier than mid-June.
Thanks, Chris. All right, so another question I see, can we report just on second 6 months given we already reported on first 6 months of 2022? I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to be an empty report and your numbers would probably not show the program implementation that you would like it to if you're only reporting on the second half of 6 months. And again, as far as trainings are concerned, we will host those trainings as soon as we possibly can when the 2022 year reporting cycle is ready.
Thank you, Andrew. I think we can give it a few more seconds, but if there are any other suggestions or feedback on the electronic annual report, please submit them to the department and Andrew will do his best to go ahead and accommodate and integrate if possible. There's nothing else. Oh. Colleen, you have a suggestion? Unmute you.
Hi, thank you so much. And thank you, Chris, for clarifying. I definitely understand, all the parameters government has to stay within. So I can appreciate that and respect that. Just as an idea for training, the webinars last year were really helpful. And I know my team and colleagues, we took advantage of each and every one of them. And we always learned new things as they went along. If it's possible, and maybe you guys already have this and I just don't know about it. If you have a video recording of really how to fill out the EAR from, step 1 to the final step and going through any common questions or common challenges that people have based upon last year's reporting for the first time, just having that training and having that link available in the reporting system or on your website is helpful. So as managers, we can as we train new staff, we can tell them, I want you to go watch this link and I want you to follow the instructions. And it's a little different than watching a recording of a webinar, because a recording of a webinar can get really convoluted with people talking and questions in the back and forth. It'd just be helpful to have an actual tutorial for the EAR and troubleshooting for common issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the suggestion. Definitely take that into consideration and walk through it. But I did just throw the link into the chat. I know you said it's not as helpful, but it's at least better than nothing at the moment. So just a few resources. That reporting link has all of those webinars and trainings that we did last summer. And then also you can always reach out to your land representatives and they can walk you through the EAR as well now, because it's not going through its overhaul like it did last year. That grid structure's here to stay. The only thing that's really changing is cleanup based on user input and just making things more clear, but that structure will be the same. So I think any walkthrough that you did with any of your LAMS representatives now would be helpful, even walking through your 2021 report. So those are a couple of resources that are available now. And yeah, we'll take that under consideration, Colleen, about just putting together a walkthrough.
Thank you. Andrew, did you have an email address that you'd prefer this feedback to go through other than the SLCP inbox?
Oh, I mean, that one's good. I suppose I will do something scary and give you my personal one. I'll put it in the chat, just to make it easier on everyone. I think a lot of you already have it anyway, so it's not so scary. But you can send me a message too, if you like, if you have any other suggestions.
Very brave. Thank you. And appreciate your time, Andrew. With that, I think in the interest of giving as much time as possible to the peer share, we'll go ahead and move to that. Thanks again, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Okay. So for this peer share, we've gotten a large amount of interest in contamination monitoring minimization, as well as illegal dumping. We have some comments from Jacob Vogenberg, as well as Ruben Hernandez. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Jacob, to go ahead and begin the conversation. Oh, looks like Jacob's not online anymore. Ruben, are you online? I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, and you can hopefully begin the conversation with your questions on organics contamination monitoring, minimization, as well as illegal dumping. I guess I'll open it up to the panelists to go ahead and discuss how the jurisdictions that you represent are handling contamination and illegal dumping. We still have Mid-Valley. Oh, we have a hand up.
Hi, Ray.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so the way we're handling contamination is, again, it's a lot of education and outreach. Once it's reported that the drivers are finding contamination, either our customer service department will call the customer to inform them that there's been some contamination. And then, we as waste zero specialists will follow up with any commercial or multifamily dwelling that continues to have contamination, and we'll do an on-site visit, take pictures ourselves, reach out to the customer, whether it be if they're on site, we'll contact them directly. If not, we'll give them a call or email them, some of the contamination issues that we're finding. At that point, then we, try to provide as much outreach, whether it be going door to door, just talking about what we're finding, handing them information, doing a newsletter, and I'm sorry, a service announcement letter, just kind of as a reminder that we're finding contamination. You know, we have seen improvement once we've done that outreach to some of the residents and working with the property managers to, you know, inform us when they're finding that as well. So we just continue to work with them.
So this is Lori from Mid Valley. I think I'll just add, because you had mentioned illegal dumping. In our areas, we definitely get a lot of pushback on program implementation with the excuse of illegal dumping. So we really try to tackle that head on. We work with code enforcement in our cities when illegal dumping is identified. We try to offer options to our customers as far as locking bins. We have a lot of, you know, homeless population that'll walk off with a cart. So if maybe a bin is more of an option because it's a heavier item. We also work with our operations team to do cleanup efforts around illegal dumping, and that's really just to help the cities tackle, you know, what's out there. So I would say it's a multi-pronged approach, but we try not to let illegal dumping and the contamination from that be an excuse to not participate in the program.
Thanks. Thank you both. Looks like Colleen Foster. Did you want to add some comments or challenges and solutions?
Thank you. I actually got to say, you know, Lori, I appreciate your honesty. I deal with the same thing. The illegal dumping or the unhoused in particular dumping and contaminating their carts is usually used as a common excuse to just not comply, and they want to be exempt. So we take a lot of the same approach and strategies. We really talk about security and closures, locking of beds. A lot of customers tend to, you know, okay, fine, just give me a cart. I want to minimally comply, where a lot of times we'll hold back on giving them a cart. We'll push them for a bin because a bin is easier to lock and there's more control in that. So we've been definitely working with customers on that aspect, because I think there's a little bit of confusion around illegal dumping and basic contamination, you know, and people contaminating either a good load of organics or not. So, and I know there's been some answers in the chat, but I think it's important we, you know, the past 2 years, the focus has been to come into compliance with SB 1383, renegotiate contracts, get food scrap set up, get services to all the customers, get 100% compliance. I think the next biggest challenge for our industry is actually understanding the ongoing maintenance of 100% compliance and how to maintain a quality feedstock for our processing systems, and then ultimately compost and energy. So I do appreciate any feedback that people want to share on how much staff time they're dedicating to their accounts, because I think that's the next conversation we need to have with council members and stakeholders, that we can't just rely on one-time grants. We really need to fund ongoing recycling specialists. You know, businesses and multifamily and estimates I've heard could take anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a year, if not more, if they're more complicated. So it's nice to have some honest conversations about really how much time does it take to keep a program successful, not just the first time, but 6 months later, 12 months later. Thank you.
Do any of the panelists want to speak to that before going to the next attendee contributor? Okay. Konya Vivanti, you have your hand raised.
Hi. Yeah, I'm with the city of Lakewood. I've been told by my hauler that they're eventually going to start charging these accounts for contamination, because that's the only thing that's going to make them snap out of it and you know, you can do so much education, you know, and it hurts in their pocketbook. And then they'll finally start doing something. And that's where we're kind of unfortunately leaning towards that option. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then the other thing I just wanted to share really quickly, there is an illegal dumping conference every year that's put out in Northern California. There's a Councilman Smiley, I think, that does it. It's a great conference. People should check it out if you haven't done so. And then finally, just quickly about trash enclosures. Our city, if you do any kind of TI, major TI, you have to rebuild your trash enclosure to accommodate all 3 streams. And we've done that pretty successfully here in our city. I just wanted to share that. So we've gotten support from our planning department. And so that's really helped us in eliminating these problems of space constraints. Thank you.
So Sam D, if you're available to make your request on suggestions on contamination. You're unmuted on our end. Okay, for the sake of time, I'll go ahead and ask it. Sam D asks, what are suggestions when it comes to strangers contaminating organics bins when they are placed out during collection?
Similar to what Lori said earlier, locking the containers is an option. They do have locking mechanisms, and I think a lot of what we are finding is that some of those issues come up when it's the downtown and placed out curb, right? I think that's the biggest challenge, and locking the containers is going to be an option, or it is an option for us.
Yeah, I would just echo what Yvette said. It's really, it's another aspect of the education part of what we do, in that there is an ownership on the container owner, the manager of that site, the business owner, that they have to secure their bin or their cart. They are responsible for the contents of that, wherever it comes from. And we support them if they're saying it's from illegal dumping or, a transient population or whatever it might be, and trying to connect them with their city services in order to address that. Because unfortunately, as a waste hauler, we can't really do anything about that, but be ready to provide them with services to answer those questions and help them, reach out to their partners to address whatever might be going on in their neighborhood. And again, that goes back to the partnership, and having, some resources to help folks out. But, there's an idea that we can say, someone else put it in there, it's not my responsibility, but if it's your can, it's still your responsibility.
Right. Sam said thank you, so appreciate that. And I believe we have time for one more question. Esmeralda?
Yeah, I'm seeing one from Michelle Hunt regarding split bins. You're unmuted on our end.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the contamination levels were on split bins.
We don't provide split bins, so that's why I'm not commenting.
That's fine. I think it was for Laguna Nigel, but they may be off already. I'll just catch up with them later. They sent their email in. Thank you.
I'll just quickly add real quick. Split bins for us, we haven't noticed any difference in contamination between a non-split bin and split bin. So, but I don't have the exact numbers in front of me currently.
Okay, thank you.
Peter Schultz Allen added some information on the 3rd annual statewide conference on illegal dumping. in the chat for anybody interested in that, as well as Aaron Armstrong's contact information. Really quickly, we do have some questions about compostable bags, lining, containers, and how that adds or contributes to contamination, if at all. And the panelists interested in speaking on that?
I can speak to that. We really encourage multifamily dwellings, commercial businesses to either not bag their organic materials or to use paper bags, especially in multifamily dwellings. Paper bags are definitely an option. When you go to the store, they ask for paper or plastic. Get a paper bag. Start lining your containers with paper bags. That is a paper product that is now touched food or liquid soiled paper product. It's part of the compost program, and it eliminates any sort of bioplastic. We've been really transparent with our customer base, with the public, about bioplastics and about all of the greenwashing that's been happening lately. And really, a lot of confusing materials out there on what is truly compostable, what's the difference between compostable, biocompostable, bioplastics, biodegradable, and things like that. So we really try to keep it paper products or fiber-based products if possible. And working with our commercial businesses when it comes to not bagging and offering to switch out containers or power wash containers, things like that, working with the public works department, making sure that there's, proper enclosure set outs, grease containers are being properly utilized, helping our commercial businesses have internal containers that they can take directly to the green carts outside, trying to really work around solutions before we get to the bio bags, before we get to plastic bags, things like that. But definitely have to do a lot of educating about the difference between compostable materials and non-compostable materials.
I would just like to echo what Alex just said. Compostable bags are the bane of my existence. We have CDFA certified organic compost that we produce. It's for the worst reason that they're the bane of my existence, and that folks who really want to participate in this system and want to do the right thing and are trying to find a solution. And so they've been advertised to that compostable bags are the way to go. And so then they end up spending their hard-earned money on these things as well, and we can't accept them in the green container. And so we do have to do that education. So I would just encourage at the state level, everything that you guys can do to help us continue that messaging would be greatly appreciated.
Noted. Before we end, or I pass it to Kara for any final remarks, we do have a couple hands raised, and I'd like to give them the opportunity to speak with these final moments. So Haley Kunert, you're unmuted on our end if you'd like to join the conversation.
Hi, yes, I'm Haley Kunert with HF&H Consultants, and I wanted to touch on a unique solution that we're going to be attempting in the city of Garden Grove for multifamily program rollout. So the city of Garden Grove has 770 multifamily complexes that are currently non-compliant with some point of, either not having organics or recycling. So the city's planning a, citywide auto enrollment in the coming months, and we're going to be pushing multifamily complexes towards the end of that rollout to give them the chance to reach out to the 2.5 recycling coordinators available to the city through Republic Services, the city's franchised hauler. And so we're hoping that through all of the other enrollments and rolling out the commercial accounts and getting outreach and stuff out throughout the year, that those multifamily complexes will take that initiative and actually reach out to Republic on their own to right size and get into compliance before that last final wave of the year to roll everyone out into compliance. So it's a strategy we're going to be trying and can absolutely report back, but it's hoping that since these multifamily complexes are so unique in the city of Garden Grove and have those different issues, and as Mark Ladney mentioned in the chat, that the containers are going to be able to be housed outside of enclosures for Garden Grove, that we're hoping we can continue enrolling commercial businesses, but also get all those multifamily complexes to reach out to the recycling coordinators and use those resources and tools available to get them in compliance and on their terms.
Thank you, Haley.
Absolutely.
Well, unless Kara has any final remarks, I just want to go ahead and thank everybody for participating, especially the panelists, the people who contributed to the conversation. And a quick reminder that we have another webinar coming up next month, February 15th. The focus will be edible food recovery. So please come with your questions there. If you do have any questions to submit prior to the webinar, go ahead and submit it to the slcp.organics@calrecycle.ca.gov inbox, as well as any questions that we did not get to today. We will go ahead and follow up with you as soon as possible. And if
Hey, Ray, just one last thing. I'd love to thank our presenters. It was an awesome webinar today. We would love to hear from all of you regarding future webinars. So please send your ideas to the SLCP inbox. And if you're willing to present, you have a great program that you want to share, we would love to hear that as well. So please let us know at the SLCP inbox. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.